Hello and welcome. My name is Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl, and in this video I'm going to be telling you all about my new deck ritual. So this is a little ritual or practice that I like to go through every time I get a brand new tarot or oracle card deck. So I'm first going to give you the quick and dirty version. So I'm just going to tell you all my steps in a really abbreviated way, and then I'm going to explain each step in detail. So first step is I take the deck out of the box. Now my newest deck is the Penumbra Tarot by Eris Elizabeth and Ethony. So I take the deck out of the box and I spend some time just looking through the cards. Step 2 is I clear my deck using either sage or Palo Santo smoke. Step 3 is I have a special practice for infusing my own energy into the cards. Step 4, I interview my tarot deck and ask it questions about itself. And then there's an optional 5th step, which I'll reveal at the end of the video. Okay, so first step is I open the box and I get my cards out. And I spend some time just looking through the deck and getting kind of like a sense for the deck's energy and personality. Every deck has its own vibe or energy or personality, and I think it's important to kind of get a feel for that. So I will spend a little bit of time doing this, and usually I make myself a big huge pot of tea. I'll find a comfortable place in the sun or a comfortable cozy place on my couch, and I'll spend a little bit of time just going through the deck and like looking at every card. And I don't like to rush this process. Sometimes I don't do it all in one sitting. Sometimes I'll break it up into a couple of sittings. But I'll just go through the deck and I'll look at the cards and I'll just get a feel for the deck's personality. I think of this as like going on a bit of a date. You're getting to know your deck, you're going on a little bit of a date with your deck. Now the second step is clearing the deck. So this is where I will use either a stick of sage, so I've got a sage bundle here, or a piece of Palo Santo to energetically clear my deck. I'm going to use Palo Santo today just because it lights better than sage. Sometimes I can spend like 20 minutes trying to get my sage bundle to light properly. All right. So this step is really fun. I love burning things like sage and incense and Palo Santo. There's just something sacred and special and kind of witchy about clearing things with some sacred smoke. And here's a little tip. So if you use Palo Santo to clear your deck and it gets down to just a little nub, I have this roach clip that I use, and I'll just clip it onto the end, and then you don't burn your fingers. That's a little hack, a tarot hack. Okay, so I'll just waft the sage smoke kind of over my cards, and I'm gonna light it again because it's sometimes even with Palo Santo I have to light it a couple times to really get it going. And I don't really necessarily subscribe to the belief that a brand new tarot deck necessarily needs to be cleared. Like, it's not, I don't think that a new tarot deck necessarily has many energies attached to it. But I find that this process is really important in really kind of claiming the deck as my own. And it's a nice precursor to the next step where I'm going to infuse the deck with my personal energies. Okay, so I usually spend a couple minutes doing this step. And then after I clear the deck, I am going to shuffle the cards. And this is like a further way that you can clear your deck. There's something magical about shuffling the cards that really clears the energy in the cards. So I'm going to give it a good shuffle. And next I'm going to infuse the cards with my own personal energy. And I do this through shuffling. So as I'm shuffling the cards, I'm kind of imagining my own energy kind of getting mixed in there with the cards. And if I'm going to be reading on a particular topic, I might be kind of thinking about that topic as I'm shuffling. I'm not doing that today. I'm just thinking about how much I like this deck. It's very beautiful, very, very colorful, atmospheric cards. So I give the deck a bit of a shuffle, and then I just hold it in my hands, usually kind of at my heart. I just hold it and I close my eyes and I visualize streams of energy pouring out of the palms of my hands and into the cards, and just weaving through every single card, permeating the cards, just really infusing the deck with my own personal energy. And I think of this as like greeting a new deck. I'm like greeting a new deck energetically. Okay. So once I feel like I've really connected to the cards, and if you feel like you do this step and you don't really feel like you're connected, another thing that you can do is you can sleep with the cards under your pillow, or you can sleep with your cards kind of on your bedside table. And that just further allows you to kind of connect energetically with the cards. So after I've done this step, I do step number 4, which is my favorite step of all. This is the most fun out of all the steps. And I interview my tarot cards. So I ask my deck questions about itself. So I like to start, and I should let you know, I'm going to put all these questions that you'll hear me say, I'm going to put them below this video. Okay, so first thing I do is I like to welcome my deck to my home. So I do this silently, I don't do it out loud. I'm going to do it out loud for you to demonstrate, but when I'm doing this by myself, I just do it in my head. So I hold my cards and I say, welcome, I'm so glad you're here and I can't wait to work with you. So welcome. So I do a little silent greeting to my deck, and then I pull a card from the deck, and that is the card's or the deck's response to what I just said. So I say welcome, and then my deck responds, aw, 5 of Pentacles. Okay, so I get 5 of Pentacles as a response. So that's it. So it's always interesting when you do this exercise and you get kind of a weird card like this, 5 of Pentacles. And to me, I'm just drawn to the symbol of the person kind of hugging themselves. It feels like my deck is a little bit shy and might need a little bit of coaxing to come out of its shell. So the next question I ask is, what card sums up your personality? So I want my deck to tell me, or to show me a card that best describes its overall personality. And I'm going to draw a card. And I got 4 of Swords, which kind of goes with what I just said about 5 of Pentacles. So we have 4 of Swords here. So this shows me that this deck might not be the most chatty deck. This is a more inward focused deck. This is a calm deck, but it's a kind of an introverted deck. So again, getting the sense that the readings I do with this deck might not always be crystal clear. This isn't going to be one of those like really talkative decks. It might take a little bit of coaxing to get some answers from these cards. All right. So the next question I love to ask is, what do you love to read about? So what do you love to read about? Because I think some decks love to read about relationships, other decks love to read about career, and I definitely have a lot of decks that, you know, you could ask it any question, it doesn't matter. But I want to hear it from this deck. What kinds of things do you love to read about? Okay. Ooh, 7 of Pentacles. Okay. So 7 of Pentacles telling me what this card loves to read about. Now the 7 of Pentacles to me, it makes me think of when, first of all, the 7 of Pentacles is about patience. And it makes me think of like when you're putting a lot of energy and work into something and you aren't really seeing results yet, usually because the results are all happening kind of under the surface, like when you plant a seed and there's a lot of growth that happens under the soil before that, you know, breaches the soil and you can see something happening. So what I get from this is that this deck loves to do readings around manifesting anytime I'm feeling impatient about something or I feel like I'm not getting results, using these cards to kind of get some answers and some ideas about that, that seems important. But I also think Seven of Pentacles, it's about patience, but it's also about nurturing and being able to like nurture something and help it grow. So again, I think readings around growth and things that you're wanting to nurture, things that you're wanting to grow, whether it's a project, a career, a relationship, this deck might have some really interesting advice to give. So then the fourth question I'm going to ask my cards is, how can you best help me? Or what can you help me with? What do you really want to help me with here? This is kind of an interesting question. And again, I'm going to post these questions below this video if you want to try this out with one of your decks. And of course, you can try this out with an old deck. You don't have to wait till you have a new deck to interview it. All right, so how can you best help me? The card I have here is Four of Cups. Okay, interesting. So Four of Cups to me is a card of boredom and feeling emotionally stagnant. So this deck is telling me that it wants to help me navigate those times in my life where I'm feeling stagnant or emotionally stagnant or just not that excited about anything or kind of bored and yeah, feeling stagnant in my life. So this deck is saying this is where I can help. When you're feeling stagnant, pull a few cards to get kind of unstuck or to get things kind of moving. So I love that. And it's almost like the two lower cups look like they're full of water and the upper cup looks like it's fire. So it's like that inspiration coming in from above. Okay, and then my last question that I ask my deck is, what traits do you look for in a tarot reader? And I love doing this process of interviewing my cards because it kind of, you start to sort of think of your deck as a person or a personality, and it's always kind of a fun way to interact with your cards. And this isn't the same as doing a reading because you're not really looking for answers, you're not looking for advice, you're just kind of hanging out with your cards. It's like a very low-key, kind of low-stakes reading. So I'm asking my deck, what traits do you look for in a tarot reader? It's like being on a date with someone and being like, what do you look for in a partner? Okay, so the card we have here is, ooh, the Magician. All right. Really interesting card. So the Magician to me is all about having that get up and go and kind of having a goal, having a focus, being willing to direct your energy towards something. There's a real creative energy with the Magician. There's also a bit of a trickster energy as well. And there's definitely, there's the snake on this card, and that is a big symbol of transformation, I think. And what I'm getting from this deck is that what this deck looks for in a tarot reader is someone who's willing to take the initiative. The Magician is always willing to take the initiative. So someone who's willing to take the initiative on things and act on things. There's a real, almost an extroverted energy to the Magician, this outward focused energy. And it's so interesting because so many of the cards from this deck were more introverted. So I think that that's interesting that this deck really looks for a reader who has the qualities of the Magician, is a little bit more extroverted. And someone who maybe wants to use the cards and the readings as a way to help transform certain areas of their life or certain areas of themselves. So yeah, so I always get some really cool insights into my decks when I interview them like that. All right, so I also want to hear from you. Like, I want you to share in the comments, have you ever interviewed your deck before? And what was it like? And if you end up using my questions to interview your deck, feel free to share what kinds of answers you got in the comments below. Okay, so the last step number 5, and this is totally optional, but this is something I love to do whenever I get a new deck, is after I do the interview, I like to place the deck somewhere that's highly visible, somewhere that I will see it on a regular basis. So sometimes I'll just put it on my coffee table and I'll put like a quartz crystal on top. Sometimes I'll put it, I have like a little side table, a little altar right next to my work desk, or I have some like crystals and candles and stuff, and I can put the deck there as well. But somewhere where I'm going to be seeing the deck on a regular basis. Otherwise what happens, just because I have so many tarot decks, is I'll put the deck back in the box. If I stick it on my bookshelf or somewhere else, I'll forget about it and I won't use it. So putting it somewhere where I'm going to encounter it regularly reminds me that I have this deck and I should be reading with it and I should use it. So that's the optional 5th step. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'm going to also post a link to my website. So my website, dailytarotgirl.com, has all kinds of fun tarot learning resources for you to check out. So I'll put the link to that below. And let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy this video? Do you use any of these steps when you get a new deck? Let me know what your process is, what your new deck ritual is in the comments below. So thanks again for watching.